Hello, guys. Welcome back. So, I reached a huge breakthrough with Odin, and he's giving me this mental image of coming over and going, pink. And it's like there's this little tiny stone on top of all these other stones, just pink. It's one little tiny stone that I wouldn't get rid of. It's one little tiny stone I wouldn't get rid of. And he just knocked it off. And I feel like I've come full circle on the channel, but not not in the way I expected. He had been leading me on a merry chase for the last couple years. We're not breaking up or anything. And he's the one that's really supposed to be my main teacher. One thing I figured out is that, there are gods that are more forceful and there are gods that are more quiet and everything like that. But, your god, you don't have to have just one, but for those of us that have like one god that's like really good at teaching us a lot of stuff, it seems like they'll keep manifesting in your life in almost everything because you start to ask people weird stuff like, what does Odin have to do with dogs? What would Odin have to do with this? What would Odin have to do with that? They're just starting to speak to you through everything. And they've probably come into your life and out of your life again every way possible. Sometimes it's been like a brass band, and sometimes it's been like a whisper, and a lot of times it's been in disguise. Like, I realized today that every time I've had these dreams of this guy, it's been Odin, and I haven't known because he's just that good. One of you had said the other day that, even if we did, and it would be true, even if Odin did manifest on this earth in the flesh to come up to talk to us, you wouldn't know it was Odin until he left. You just would not. And you go, no, I would know. I consider myself being married to the dude, and I don't know him when I see him in a dream. I don't. There are people that would go, yeah, I know. You don't. You won't. You won't. Because you're not supposed to, because you wouldn't get the lesson if you knew. Because if I saw it was Odin, my brain would go, Odin. All the associations I have for the name, and I wouldn't learn. And what he's been doing lately is leading me this way and sideways and up and down on all these books. Because he's like, I see what you want. And he's told me before, he said, dear, we could do this the easy way, but you never will. So we're going to do this the hard way. And he doesn't want to do it the hard way. He wants to do it the easy way, but I won't do it the easy way. So, okay, we're going to do it the hard way. So instead of going right to the books and all that, that's good for me, which might not be what works for you. So we're not going to start throwing around names. He led me everywhere else. He led me everywhere else. And, and it felt like we were walking through a bog and I was bonking my head on branches and he's like, whoa, isn't this fun? And I'm like, not really. And, then he led me right back around to where I was. And I looked at him and I'm like half dead and I'm like, what do you mean? We're right back where we started from. I know. I told you, my darling, you always have to make this hard, so we made it hard. And, it's all been about facing my fears. That's what he's been, clanging, not literally, but clanging symbols about in my millisecond, millimeter behind my head about. It's about facing fears. Had I faced my fears of going into the Steam studio years ago, I would have had that stuff years ago. I would have had thousands of stuff, and the gods wouldn't have had to keep coming, because the gods were doing it not only because they would honestly like this stuff, but because it was a lesson. Face your fears, go in there. That's the real reason they kept asking. Plus, it's fun. They want to hang out with us and have fun. But the real lesson was face your fear. Face your fear of that studio. Face your fear of that workshop that you don't understand. Go in there, touch it. I thought everything cost money on Steam. I just didn't understand that most of this shit is actually free. And they're like, you want assets? Have them for free. Here you go. Whee! Free assets. I'm like, I can have all the stuff. How is this all free? And it's all on that platform, so there's no way to lose tags and there's no way for, for anything to go wrong. And I'm like, God, this is glorious. You can't, and I've been running through those World of Warcraft things and I've been wanting to cry because they're so damn beautiful. And that was kind of a lesson too, because years ago, when World of Warcraft first came out, I mean, decade or so ago, a lot of women talked about being WoW widows and, WoW orphans and stuff like that because guys would just get so sucked into this stuff that they left their jobs and they left whatever they were doing. And guys were, and this was a lot of times the weird thing was, it was guys that were going places and they just got sucked into this game and it really made a lot of women widows and it made a lot of children orphans and it made a lot of friends ex-friends and these guys got totally consumed by this game and not in a healthy way. That wasn't good. If you're not showing up for work so you can play a video game, that's not good. That's when you need help. And if you showed it to me in the pancake version today, I'd be like, I don't know what the hell you see in this. But the VR version, that's for free, that's in the environments. I've only done 2 of the World of Warcraft environments so far, but I'm like, I can see. I can see. If it had been this, I could see falling in love with this and not ever wanting to leave this world because it's fantastic and it's beautiful and it's why the hell don't we have free locomotion? But other than that, it's fantastic and it's beautiful, and I could see. I'm like, was the music really always this fantastic? I thought they had, kind of sucky music in that game. And was the art always this amazing? And of course not. This is 2021, and this came out within whatever last couple years, whenever they made these. I didn't even look at the dates on them, but World of Warcraft, smart. World of Warcraft is one of the games that's like, you know what? We're going to come over here and we're going to woof whistle at you because we're going to give you this beautiful stuff and you're going to see this and you're going to fall in love with this environment and then you're going to want to go play the game. Some studios have figured out that if they give you amazing stuff for free in VR, you'll go play the game. You'll be like, this is so damn cool. I want to go do this. But the lesson was that at the time, the men that got sucked into that, they took their eyes off what was important, their family or their job or whatever, their religion, and they got sucked into this game and they got, really devoured by this game because they can play all these characters and go on all these fantastic adventures and that. And you couldn't reach them. You couldn't reach them. This game was like an addiction to them. And I even ran a video game channel, for my life. And even though I lived the lifestyle because I was running a channel, I never got that sucked into that game. I lived the lifestyle. I bought all the crap hoping to make the channel a success. Did not work out too well, obviously, or we wouldn't be here. But I never got so sucked into it that I started believing it was real or anything. And these guys just, they kind of got, consumed by it. Where I'm able to go into this stuff and weep happy tears because the newness of VR has been granted back to me by the gods. And Odin's like, this is everywhere. This is everywhere. This wonder you're seeing in VR, this is everywhere. It's just you humans are so used to the world around you. So I came out of VR and Loki was like shoving at me like, tell. I came out of VR, came out of the World of Warcraft. I went to a seaport one and I was just like, I would have died had something come. There's this, I'm not going to give away everything, but there was this one part in this map of the seaport town, which is massive. Had anything moved at that part in the map, I would have just died of fright. It was the most epic, emotional thing I've ever seen. But had anything moved, I would have died of fright right then and there. I would have dropped dead in VR, and you would have never saw me again. And I came out, and I've been seeing how beautiful everything was. And if you would look at this game and not be in the mindset, you'd be like, "What's she talking about?" I could see it going outside. I wasn't seeing the game or anything, but I was seeing the same kind of beauty, outside. Like I was telling Loki, I was saying, look at, we have ground cover here. And I love it because it's in the ancient days it was used in beer instead of hops. So it's like used to make beer, and ignorant people in this area will tear it all up and like throw it away, and I'm like, that's free beer. It's ground cover, okay? And it's just kind of in these waves. It grew in these waves, and it looks like sea foam. And the gods had me bring rocks up, so it looks like these rocks breaking above the sea foam, and it's beautiful. And the ground cover was free, and the rocks were free, and it's really beautiful. And I saw this beauty there, and I saw a little bit on my walk. But then, I'm walking on this busy road, and I can't be like, for 20 seconds I was, beautiful. And then you have to get your head on a swivel because people drive like there's that invisible third lane over where there are yards. Yeah, then I had to let that go and I had to concentrate. But I went into the gas station and it came back, and I'm like, everything is so beautiful. And I'm not doing drugs or anything when I do VR. And I had to put that away when I was coming out. And I had this weirdest thing when I was coming out. And I think this was to bring the lessons full circle. I was going to cross the road, and Odin had been kind of urging me. He said, I know you think you're spending a lot of money, but you're really not. And he said, why don't you, because it had just hit me. Okay, then let me back up. I'm sorry, guys, but you know how I tell stories. It's all groceries. Whether I get it at Walmart or whether I get it up at the store or whether I get it up here or whether I get it at the DQ, it's all groceries. I've got this. That doesn't make sense to any of you, but it does to me because I used to see it like I have to get groceries from Walmart and only from Walmart. And if I get it from here and I get it from there and I get something over there, I'm destroying it and my life's all in tatters. It's all groceries. It doesn't matter if I get a little bit at Walmart and a little bit up here and a little bit over there. I know, but my brain just works in different ways. And that was like a breakthrough. And I'm like, oh, I can still keep on budget and I can still do this thing. So great. And I don't want to say budget like I'm totally limiting myself because I'm trusting the gods to have it there. And I'm trusting myself. I'm like, I'm not going up here to spend $800. I'm not going to sit down at one of the gambling machines and go, "Biddy-biddy-doo-doo." I'm not going to buy $800 worth of scratch offs. I'm just going up here to what? To buy a loaf of bread and some eggs. And had I spent at the next store, I wouldn't have spent much there either. But I'm going to cross the road, and keep in mind, as of now, I have low vision as of now. There's always hope for the future, I believe there is. And I'm going to cross the road, and this white car's coming. And I saw it, and I didn't think the thought in words, but I saw a white car, and white is color of death in Japan. And it was weird. It was like sound kind of went muffled, like it is in fog. And this car was going to wait for me for a second, but then he pulled in. And I still crossed the road anyhow, and I was starting to feel nervous, a combination between it getting darker and could literally die if you fell off this hill, and there really isn't much wiggle room at this one space right before my yard. If I ever mistimed it, I might end up over that damn hill. So there's always a risk when I go out to, get groceries and when I'm coming back. You have to judge it. It's dangerous. People have asked for decades, will you please put up a goddamn guardrail before someone dies? And they're like, nope. So, I was a bit nervous for that. I was like, if if I take too long, I might misjudge that and I might step right over the hill. But really, I'm like, oh, I've got enough time. I've got enough time. I've got enough light. But the car goes in front of me. This car that I thought, I didn't even think the words, but I thought, white, death in Japan, goes in front of me, pulls into the DQ. He was going to let me go, but then he decided, okay, if you're not going to move, I'm going to move. Guy gets out and goes to the window, and seeing this guy's face, It wasn't like it was a regular person, but seeing this guy's face and seeing the way he was lit from the side, and his beard was kind of all scraggly and whitish and everything else. And he had this young boy with him. I'm like, that's the face of death. I don't understand this. This isn't literally death incarnate, but that is the face of death. It wasn't like he was going to hurt anybody or anything else, but I was getting, this guy is connected to my death somehow. And I got that weird feeling I've had a couple times in my life that I was invited to stay. And it was like everybody stopped being the person they are every day, like the ego self, and was like putting their role aside for a few nanoseconds to see, is she going to stay or isn't she? And I walked a little bit and I looked at the menu and I looked back at them and I thought, I have a choice. I can stay here when I know staying for the amount of time it would take to get food, whether it was 5 minutes or maybe it would have taken a half hour because the last time I was there it took half hour, or I can leave. And I left because I was like, this is a turning point. I know if I stay, I'm almost guaranteed for a disaster. I don't know what would have happened. We will never know because I believe when you sidestep something like that, whatever the event was, doesn't happen. So, I don't know, but I know I would have left this earthly plane. It wasn't like he would have killed me, but something would have happened. I could have just dropped over waiting on the bench. But I was like, no, no. And I came home and I was pouring my coffee and that's why I knew. I was like, that was one of those checkout points. And that was one of the times I could have left. It was, there's this theory that before you come down, you plot out your life. You plot out exactly how long you want to live. You plot out the main life lessons you want to learn. And you might not script every event, but you say like, I want to learn X, Y, and Z, and then the universe is like, okay, I got this. And you'll be given those lessons during this life. And you have X amount of time to do your lessons. Like say you give yourself 85 years, 100 years, 120, whatever. Because you're not here against your will, believe it or not, and you actually chose to come here, you get to set up exit points, however many you want, whatever points in time you want. You can cluster a whole bunch together, or you can space them evenly apart, whatever's to your taste. Now, I think, I've never heard it say, but I think on rare occasions you could create one. Not go harm yourself, but I think on rare occasions, if all the stars align, you might create one. And that's almost what it felt like this happening. It was like, that was a checkpoint, but it also felt like I almost created that checkpoint because it was like higher self, Loki, Jesus, Buddha, the tree outside was like, okay, you could come back to wherever it is we go, but this is up to you. This is entirely optional. You've actually, got all your ducks in a row. You've done enough. You've completed enough of your lessons. We're happy you can come back. And I was like, no, 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 no. If I'm done with my lessons and this is like a voluntary checkpoint that they're handing me, no, I'm staying around. And Odin has been giving me lots of intense kind of mini dreams before the dreams, if that makes any sense. And in one, there were like three little dogs of King Charles Cavalier Spaniel. I love these, but these were like a teacup version. I said, I don't know if those dogs exist, but no, you have to get them for me because I fell in love with them. And they were like my dogs, and they were living in this house with me. And there was a Russian blue cat, and there was a marmalade kitten from Freya. And I don't think it was quite a literal thing, but the gods were like, would you take this? And I'm like, yes. And they kind of looked at me and they said, what? Because at one time I would have pissed and moaned and groaned and said why I couldn't have them. Then I got a little better in my attitude and I would have said yes, but, and said, you have to give me X, Y, and Z. Now I just say yes. And the gods looked at me and they said, what? I said, yes. And they said, what? And I said, yes. And go, why? I said, because I know now at this point that I can trust you, that if you literally had 3 puppies show up at my door, you would also have whatever it was I needed to take care of them show up. I know that without a doubt. If you really had a kitten or a cat or anything else show up in my life, if this really happened, whatever way it happened, I know without a doubt you would get me the way to take care of them. Or if they weren't meant to be with me, you would help me take care of them and get them to wherever they needed to go. I said, I know that without a doubt. And they're like, oh. I said, but am I getting my puppies? Because I like some puppies. I like some puppies. And I said, I will not go out and look for them, because that wouldn't be part of the lesson. I won't go out and look for them. I won't go out and look for a kitten. I won't go out and look for a cat. But if they literally come into my life with zero effort on my own, I said, I will know that's from you. And I will trust that everything else will come with them. And I will have zero worry in it and it will be zero effort. And the gods are like, she's got that lesson. Did you have anything else planned? No, actually, I didn't. And they're all kind of standing around looking at each other like, I don't know if she was supposed to get it in this lifetime. So, and Luck has been like, yeah, actually, we've been kind of scratching our heads. We're kind of lucky you figured out that Steam thing because it kept you busy all day. But that's kind of the thing. That's kind of the thing. And even the FedEx thing, I checked on it today and it like moved like I think 10 miles in the state it's in. And they're like, it's pending. And pending's supposed to be, I looked it up, like, oh, hey, be excited because it's going to be delivered any moment now. It's still 2 states away. And I think FedEx is just having a meltdown right now of, oh my God, we told her we'd get it there today and it's not there and it's almost midnight. Yeah, it's like 8 minutes to midnight and they're like, oh, we said we'd have it there. We lied. And I'm like, I don't know why they do this. I don't know why they do this. Amazon gave them until this coming Thursday and was like, that's a generous thing. And even the company said, look, if it doesn't get there within the specified time, if you don't get it by the delivery date you're given on Amazon, let us know. We'll refund the money or you can send it back or something. And they're like, if it doesn't get there in time, it doesn't get there in time because a lot of people do order stuff for like events and stuff like Christmas, birthdays, whatever. They're like, not a problem. Let us know. We'll send it back. And I did have those moments that everyone does. Like I was like, my order's in 4 pieces, isn't it? The box got cut somewhere and they don't know how to tell me they destroyed it. And then I'm like, well, if it does come in destroyed, if it comes in a different, obviously different box, or anything else happened, I'll just contact the company. And I'm like, it's not even an issue. It'll be a lesson. But the funny thing is, we're talking about the cow, and a cow came up in this thing. And there's this phrase about the cow jumping over the mind, and I'm like, got it. And Odin's the god of the mind, and he's been the one my whole life trying to teach me all this stuff about it really doesn't have to be that hard. And we're definitely at a crossroads now, and we can go down this route and make all the Brawlhalla dudes happy and put in all this hard work and keep telling you guys, it takes hard work and it takes all this effort. Or we can walk down the other path of zero effort. Now, don't misunderstand me. It doesn't mean that I never make another video again and then I expect 9 million subscribers to drop out of nowhere and watch all my videos like 24 hours a day. That's not what it means, but it means that if it feels like an effort, I don't do that video. If it feels like I'm really trying hard, no more sitting here for a couple hours a day. That's gone. If I have to sit there and nothing's coming, that's not going to be a video. I know it by now. I've done this for over 4 years. I know there's no sense in beating my head against a wall. It just makes me angry. And it does. I'm not perfect. I'm not past anger or anything. So it makes me angry and frustrated, and then you never do get the video. But we're going towards when it's not effort, when it flows. That is when I'm supposed to do the video, and not to worry if people aren't going to watch it because it's not always Loki, because I've noticed another thing too. Loki in every title works for well, and then it doesn't because people get bored. And not you guys that are regular. You guys are regular are the best. But we noticed that, and then I was able to let it go. And I'm like, whoever the teacher is that day or whatever the lesson is, might not even be about a god some days. That's what we'll do, and we'll make it zero effort. And I just have to have trust and faith that the channel's going to go whatever way it's going to go, and the channel growth's going to go that way, and everything else is going to go that way. And the people that need to hear the message are going to hear it. The people that, really don't want to hear the message, that really don't want to at least turn in the direction of the gods, people like that. Like, we won't go in, this isn't a place to go into examples of it, but, if those people aren't going to hear it, those people aren't even going to tune in. And if they do, they won't get anything out of it. So it's zero worry, zero effort. It doesn't matter if somebody likes it, because the people that need it will get it. So, I hope that reached you the right way. But it was definitely a quantum leap forward, because I thought of candles. I thought I should order some candles, and it just was a quantum leap forward, and we'll talk about that some other day maybe, about burn all the candles you want, but because you get pleasure in burning candles. Really, it feels like the gods are trying to get us to take this quantum leap forward, that if you want to have altars because you love altars and you enjoy them, and you enjoy, they're your friends and your family, and you enjoy exchanging, not exchanging, because I don't want it to sound like gift for gift, but you enjoy getting them beautiful things, and you enjoy having a beautiful altar, and you enjoy burning candles and incense, great, do it. But don't do it in the idea of a fear-based servitude of, if they don't have the altar, they will get mad, or if they don't get the candle, they won't give me the healing, or if they don't get the incense, they won't do that. The gods can only give us what we're willing to do. If we're willing to walk with faith and listen to them, because they've been telling me for years, we really don't need candles. We really don't need incense. This stuff is nice. And if you're going to keep offering us stuff, sure, okay, we'll walk down that road. But, they really don't need the altars, unless we're going to go use that to recharge. Then it's invaluable. If we're going to use an altar to recharge and to lift our spirits and to remind us that the gods are with us, great. But it's not like if you don't make the altar, they won't work with you. It's not like if you don't burn the candle, they won't help you. You can work on whatever level you want to work at. If you want to work on the hardest level possible, where you're burning candles like crazy, and you're never done building altars, and you're always buying incense, and you're always suffering, and you're cowering before the gods, and it's a gift for a gift, and it's nothing but strife and begging and hoping they like the present you made them, you can work on that level. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people stay on that level all their life, You don't go to church every 7 days, God's gonna throw you in hell. They work on that level all their life. But if you want to work on the level where there's faith and there's trust, and the relationship starts to work and deepen because you spend time together, then you can go down that road, and you can still have an altar, but only if you want it, only if you use it for the proper use, which is a place to offer time together, to heal together, to recharge, to recharge with one another. You can offer candles, incense, for the same reason. They recharge and uplift you as much as they recharge and uplift the gods. You can walk down that path, but you have to choose. Eventually you have to choose in your life which path to walk down. And you can't do both. You can't do both. It's either, a veil of suffering and tears, or it's paradise on earth. That's what all the teachers meant about, you can have heaven here on earth, not like second coming, not like Ragnarok has destroyed the world. You can have heaven or hell right here, right now, right this instant. It's all in the way you live, it's all in the way you approach things. You either approach from a faith and love-based place, or you approach from a fear-based place. And this is hard, and I've done it for years. I used to do all this stuff for decades, got out of it, got back into it, got out of it, got back into it. Now I'm getting back into it, and I'm like, oh, it's like you pick right up where you left off, and then you accelerate because you did all that stuff. And you probably have. You've probably done it off and on all your life yourself. And, I don't want to, I'm never going to tell you guys books, because I truly believe you have to find what works for you. And what works for one person is a disaster for another person. And I have learned, the hard way, that just because a person that I'm really learning from says, oh, I love this book, don't go run out and get the book, because I'll be like, what did they love about this? This is horrible. And I try to jam those lessons into my life and just letting it flow into my life. If a book's meant for me, it will fall kind of almost right into my lap. So If you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe. We wanted to kind of bring that to you because once we made that quantum leap, old Odin doesn't exist anymore. You know, scary Odin that was tied up with bad teachings doesn't exist anymore because he never did. It was all a product of that fear-based way of seeing the gods. But, you know, to each their own. I know that might get us some unsubs, but if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.